Well, welcome to my shop again. I'm going to start a little something new with this video. I'm going to call it the tip of the video, so to start, as long as I can anyway. So to start out my videos, I'm going to have a tip of something, or doing something that, you know, I've learned over the years. So let's get going with this one. Y'all all met my dog Brandy, Popcorn Brandy. Well, he was a rescue dog. I've had him about 2 years. The first year and a half of his life, he grew up in a pen, and I could tell obviously he had been beaten and yelled at. And you can pick up a BB gun, you see him 3 days later. So he had a very rough going. So obviously he must have chewed on everything he could get his hands on in a little 8x10 pen for a year and a half. They did take him out occasionally, but he wasn't treated nice. So my wife has, you know, she has a lot of things outside, and one of the things that he liked to tear up is it's an extension of the gutter so that the water runs, you know, away from the house. It's plastic. Well, he's taken that off and torn it up several times, and he's actually even bent the gutter downspout and so forth. And last night he took the front mat off the front door. So, you know, I'm getting him there, but it's a long haul. So anyway, here's a tip on how to break dogs from tearing up stuff. All right, you don't have to necessarily do this, but on the gutter, I took and sprayed a little bit of glue on it, and then I sprinkle a heavy dose of cayenne pepper, and it sticks to it. So this has been like 2 weeks ago, and he hadn't touched it since. So there you go. Tip of the video. Let's get to doing something a little more wood turning oriented. Well, it's winter here. A little chilly out here this morning, but I got the heat on. It'll heat up in a little while. But I don't like cold weather, so that's why I got heat in my shop. But anyway, getting to the point, I'm going to turn a pepper grinder. Here's one I just turned, and I've got to turn. I got to turn 5 more. I got to have 3 sets of these things. I found some kits on eBay at a absolutely amazing price. They were $5.27 a piece. Stainless steel, ceramic cutters. I don't know, you know what happened, but I bought 10 of them things. So guess what? My wife has me making Christmas presents for her sisters and my daughter-in-law and all that. So here's one I turned. This is the 3rd one. I did it different. I don't follow instructions. I never did. I generally read the instructions after I screw up. But in this case, I didn't. I did read the instructions, and I don't do it the way they said to do it. So I'm going to show you how I did it. I think it's easier, but you be the judge of that, okay? Here's a better look at it. It's walnut, black walnut. Like I've told you lots of times, I got tons of this stuff. And I need to use it because, you know, it's out there in the weather. I looked at it yesterday, and looks like the termites got into it a little bit. Even though it's a little bit off the ground, I'm going to cut it up and put it under some shelter for too long. I have 2 like 8-foot logs of it, about 18 inches in diameter. So that's going to be a big job all by itself. So anyway, here we go. All right, step uno number 1 was to find some blanks. So what I did is I went out in my wood pile and I found this black walnut log. As you can see by looking at it, it's termites done got into one side, but luckily they're mostly just in the sapwood. So I cut that in half. As you can see, my laser on my chainsaw was off a little bit, but that's okay. And here we go, I made some blanks right here. My wife sprung 2 more pepper grinders on me yesterday, so I didn't have enough, so I was afraid I was going to have to cut that one up over there, and I really would like to make a bowl out of it. But I searched through, and I found 1 more underneath all my wood pile. I cut off some way back, and I think I can make one be a little bit smaller. But anyway, here's the one I've chosen to make this one, and there's the one of the 3 I've already made. So we get started with how I do this on step 2. All right, step 2 is to find the centers on this blank right here. Now this one's got some checking in the end, so I don't want to use it, and it also has looks like a crack here. So this will be my end I'll probably cut off a little bit. So I'm going to make the centers on them now. So the way I do it is I take the one I've already made and I set it up here. And I draw a line around it. Careful not to draw a line on the pepper grinder. It's just barely going to fit, but this end will be a little smaller anyway. So I do that, turn it on the other end, I do the exact same thing on that end. And can we see this good enough? Let's turn it up a little bit. There we go. And going on this end. All right, good. All right, now I take my centering ruler. It's got a 0 in the center, and it's got millimeters down here and inches up here. And I want to find the center of the circle I just drew. So I'll come up here, and I like using the millimeter one because it has smaller marks. Okay, looks like this is going to be about 7 centimeters. I got 3.5 on each side exactly, so I'm going to draw me a line right there. Okay, I'm going to come to the opposite corner. Probably the same there unless I got an oblong circle. And I will draw me a line here. So these will intersect right there. I will take A, all, and carefully find the center and give her a whack. Couple whacks for good measure. All right, let's go do the other end. And I've already drawn the circle. So this should be the same. 3.5, 3.5. Draw a little line. Turn around here. Where'd it go? 3.5, 3.5. Draw my other little old line, all right? Intersect these. And do my whacking thing again. Center. All right. This is going to be the top. I'm going to put this on the drive end. All right. What I always do, and I know some people don't agree with me on this, but I really don't care because this is how I keep myself safe. This is a 1 inch Forster bit. I'll drill down about the depth of this, and my drive center will sit into there. All right, good enough. So let's see. Sometimes I get off a little bit, but it has to be expected. Looks like I did there too, but not much. So I'll get the drive center I want to use. It's going to be this one. I'll set her in the hole. I'll get a hammer. I don't get concerned with messing up this end because I've got tools that'll straighten it. Sometimes it'll get a little mushroom right here, but this is pretty hard steel. So as long as you hit her straight on, it generally doesn't make an impact. There you go. All right, next step is to put it on the lathe. See if it spins all right. Reach over here to my switch. Here we go. This one's on. Always have it in center position for safety. This is the speed control I'm going to use. An LED light's lit up. Turn it on. I've got it on the slow speed belt. I don't need nothing real fast here. And let's give her a whirl. Looks like it's going to work. All right. I'm going to use the long wrist. I've already got this clip on it. Just a worm clamp I put on. You can just use a regular worm clamp for this. You don't go need to spend $3 or $4 on one. They spend 10 cents on to and charge you that much, claiming it's a wrist stop. All right, there we go. Let's come up here. I think I'm gonna come in a little closer here. I'll lock this down first. I like to keep this as parallel as possible. So we'll come up here to a nice straight edge. We're gonna touch it now. I'm gonna bring it back just about a quarter. Bring it back a little bit more. All right, there we go. Lock her down. Make sure everything's tight. All right, for this I am going to use a spindle gouge. There you go. Check it, see if it's sharp. Pretty sharp. It's got a fairly shallow flute. That's how you tell a spindle gouge from a bowl gouge. Here's an example for ye who don't know. You see this, it's a bowl gouge. See how deep that flute is? Compared to how, whoops, turn it over. Really shallow on that side, wasn't it? See how shallow that one is? Okay, that's how you tell the difference between a bowl gouge and a spindle gouge. Now, I cut these wings back a little bit. I probably shouldn't have, but this is before I knew what I was doing. Don't show this to my kids because they've never heard me admit that before. All right, this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to get all the right equipment on. And we'll spin this dude up and do a little whirling and whittling. So we're going to check this right here, make sure we're on center, and we are. And we're going to whirl it up. I like to whirl it pretty fast. We'll see if we can't get this thing down the round. At about almost 900. That even hurt through the glove. But barehanded, that really would have hurt it. Now, anytime you're spinning something, you need to wear your face shield. Even though the way I got this set up, it's highly unlikely the worst catch in the world is going to flip it out of there. But it could. So it's better to err on the side of safety. All right, I'm right here where I marked this. I'm going to cut me I'm going to just call it a groove. Here again, I'll turn fast the way I prefer to do it. All right, just to bring you up to where I'm at right now, I took this piece to the drill press and I drilled a 7mm hole all the way through into this. Now, the reason I did that is that I'm getting ready to cut this off. This is going to be the top. I'm going to cut it off right here. And that gives me a perfect center in relation to this top by drilling that hole. Plus, I got to have that hole anyway for the grinder shaft. Okay, when I get this cut off, I'm going to put it back on back on the lathe and flip it around one end to the other and drill a 1 5/8 inch Forstner bit hole in both ends. So let's get this cut off first. Get this out of my way. Turn that one off just as a safety deal and get my little cutoff saw and commence to saw. Bear in mind this tenon I turned here is 1 5/8. So when I drill a 1 5/8 hole in here, this will slide into it. So I should have a close fit. You really don't want a perfect fit because you got to be turning this thing around. And I found this the easiest way to cut these off is just like I'm doing. Keep them turning as you saw. And that'll give you a nice even cut. There we go. Now you got to do is retrieve your saw. And we have the saw. All right, next step is I'm going to leave this chuck on. Take this out right here. And you see, got my perfect hole right here already. So, I'm going to take this out of here. And there's my top right there. Just a matter of I'll show you how to do that. I do that a little different too. Okay, I'm gonna now make sure that's tight. And I do this before I tighten this right here. And I like to put a little extra torque on these. Especially drilling because that bit puts a lot of pressure on it. All right. I got her centered now. Good thing my foot wasn't there. It might not have felt too good. Typically, I would give this a whack before I put the drill bit in, but seems like anytime I'm filming something, I forget half of the steps. So I'll do it like that. Of course, I never forget anything when I'm not filming. All right. Now I'm only going to go a 1/2 inch deep, which is just almost all of this. But I will put on a glove because this thing sometimes might want to spin on you. And it ain't too kind on these hands. All right. Let's see what we got here. Even if that wasn't tight enough. See, that's exactly what I was trying to tell you a while ago. Okay, try it again. Back it off just a hair. Spin her back up a little faster this time. And we'll try it again. There we are. That's the bottom. Turn this off. So make sure I'm doing this right. Perfect. But it's on the other end. All right. And we're going to take this off. There we go. Flip it around here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. Looks about right. Here again, I'm going to do just about the same. Let's see. That's not a half, but we'll need more room. Besides, this is sort of a reservoir for, you know, the salt or the pepper or whatever you want to put in it. Doesn't hurt a thing. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing on this end. Whirl it up. All right. Now we are going to remove this. See how that fits? This is going to be the top. There you go. That's how I take care of that. That's not what the book tells you to do. But who believes in books? Not I. Now we are going to drill a, whatever size that is. Let me look it up here. That is a 1 1/16. Oops, do this. I want to go, yeah, about to where that blue mark is. Don't need to go that far, but maybe I'll go to this one and turn it around. This particular walnut, it's a little wet inside, so it's pretty bad about sticking. So you have to take it easy with this. All right. That's tight. That's tight. And we're going to whirl it up, and this will take 4 or 5 minutes probably. This has to go all the way through. What I'll do is I'll drill it to about half, maybe more, then I'll flip it around and drill the 2 ends, and hopefully they meet. If they don't, we might have some crooked pepper. I don't know. All right. When I start to feel it, they're dragging, I'll back it out. All right. And bring her back in. Now, I don't know if you guys ever had one of these things stick in this. If you spin it fast, in fact, I'm spinning it a little too fast. When you spin it very fast, it builds up a lot of heat. And that's what causes the grain, especially if it's wet, to sort of compact in there. And you can trust me on this, because I know it will weld your bit inside there like a big dog. In fact, one time I had to drill the other end where I could get a rod in there to knock it out. That's how bad it'll do it. Luckily, this grizzly has a 4-inch stroke on this tailstock, so it really makes it nice. It's even a little hard to pull out there, see what I was talking about. You can use candle wax, but I found it doesn't really help that much. Tried to twist it, and it told me it's getting a little too tight. There we go. Now we're going to flip it around. Looking good. And we'll tighten this one back up. And bring it in here because your 1 5/8 drill bit left a perfect center spot for starting. And as usual, we'll tighten the you know what out of it. Something dogs do in snow that turns yellow. All right. And we'll commence again, nice and slow. We're locked down. Thing about this big old lathe, you don't bog it down. Hold on to it tight enough, it'll spin you. I think it went through, but I'm going to run her back in again just to make sure. All right, let's run her through just to make sure. Yep, and it sounds like it met perfectly. Right to there. I found that works easier. All right, we are done with this chuck. That's going to be the bottom. So what I'm going to do now, here it looks better. Okay, we're good. Now we're going to switch to another chuck. Sorry the camera angle wasn't quite right on that last little bit, but here's a chuck I'm using, and this chuck uses the Tommy bars, but you see right here, this actually fits into the 1 5/8 opening in the base of the grinder, which lets me hold it in its entirety. And then at the other end, you can see I use a live center. So I've got the whole thing captured in between there. So you get an idea what I was talking about here. All right, let's move on. And we'll need a live center again. Have to have the Tommy bars on this dude. So I'm going to grab this on the inside now, right here. And bring this up into here. Okay. Good. Tighten this up. Pick up my Tommy bars. And tighten this one up. Okay, we're in business. Now we're ready to whittle the outside. All right, there's my shape. You can see it's pretty rough here. Let's turn it down so it's a better look at it. There's where I decided to go with it. So now I'm going to take a square cutter that has the slight bevel right here. The reason I like that is it's a little easier, so you don't end up getting a catch with that straight square corner. And you can see here it's got some pretty good end grain right here and here. But no major chip outs, so it's not going to be too difficult. Oh, excuse me. Moving right along. Here again, I'm going to whirl it at 1,000. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do some shear cuts with this thing. Where I can, and actually I can't do it on the coals. But I can come up here and do it, and I can do all this and the flats. And then I'll come back gently with the round tool to do the centers, and then it'll be sandpaper time. There's something right there, I want to see what it is. Getting a little place right here. Yeah. I think I'm gonna deepen that out a little bit there. I'll do this with this. I'm gonna show a little more definition right in this area. All right, let's do a little sandpaper. And do something here that's important first. Need to make sure I got the right length. Perfect. If it's not right, these shafts, they come with this kit. You can't cut them off like you can the crush grinders. These have to be made to length. I'll use a little 120 grit here. Turn on my dust collector. As usual, I don't do nothing traditional. Some people don't like to sand fast, I do. Secret is you just have to keep your paper moving. That looks pretty nice, guys. That's a piece of an old armchair. There's a use for everything. All right, it's ready for sealer. I mean, that literally is all there is to it. And I like to use this Minwax water-based sealer. I used to not like it. The more I use it, the more I like it. It's easy to use, dries relatively quick, easy to sand, and makes a hell of a nice smooth finish. What else do you want? I used to use oil-based finishes and shine juice and all that stuff. I have found that this is quicker and better. Here it is, in case you didn't see it. It's Minwax Sanding Sealer. It's used with Minwax oil or water-based polyurethane. Sands easily for ultra smooth finish, and that ain't no lie. Doesn't seem to soak in quite as much. I just thought of something about this. I did not have to use one little bit of super glue on this thing. And make sure it's well saturated. Thing about it is you can use your hands here because you just go in there and soap and water and they're clean in a second. Let that sit for about an hour and come back and put another coat on and do that about 2 more times. And then a little sanding and sealer and this thing will be done. So I'll catch you when I come back. Okay, I finished turning them and I'm going to show you how to put one together now. Okay, here's what comes in the kit. You get your main shaft. You get a ceramic cutter. This is the little knob that goes on top. It's a little casing the cutter goes in. There's a spring so it bounces back up. A plate on the bottom, 2 screws, and this little thingamajigger here that goes on the cap. Alright, now this is the one that I made first, and as you saw, you know, I started making the one in the in this video, and it ended up being this one, but I got the base too small, so I just went ahead and finished it, and I've got another one that's only got sealer on it, and then I made one to match this one, which it turned out pretty close. This is a black walnut, and it's really a beautiful piece. So I'm going to show you how to put this together. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you didn't make this thing too long. You can do that by measuring, but who wants to measure? Measuring's boring. So you take your cutter, you put your shaft in it. It's got a little stopper on the end. Okay, you put a spring on it, and you put your little plastic thing on here. It's got some little ears right here that'll fall in. Now we're going to shove this into the bottom, hold it in tight, and we're going to put the cap on. And what we're doing right here is making sure we got plenty of threads, just like that right there. So there it would be. Okay, so now we know that's good. So we can take all that back apart. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this little thing right here. Try to get where you can see it. Okay, it's got little old pointed ears on it, and what it does, it sticks on the bottom of the cap, and that's what, when you grind it, that's what makes it turn. So the way I do it is I put the shaft in here and go all the way like that. I take the cap and I come into the back side, so it's like that right there. Okay, see how that is? Alright, and then I don't know if you can see this or not. Yes, I think you can. Get this out of the way. Okay, I sort of wrap it with a rag a little bit so that it doesn't get messed up, and I just set it in the vise here like this. Try to hold it pretty straight. Follow that, and then I just tap it down. And that's it. Now you know you got perfect alignment that way. Next step is you take your base. Well, I guess the vibration messed up my camera, didn't it? Okay. All right. Where are we? Okay. Next thing you do is you take your base and you put all this back together again. Okay, this goes through your cutter like that. Don't forget your spring. And little plastic keeper. I'm going to slide them all in. I'm going to hold this. Okay. You want to put it all together with the spring. Just hold it in place right there. You got this in place now. So slide this on. Make sure you got a nice pretty fit. And I do. And then you want to put the cap on. Yeah, okay, that's basically it, except for one little minor detail. There you go. Didn't quite have it lined up right. Go ahead and pull this tight. Now to me, this is the hardest part. Because these little bitty ass screws right here in my big old fingers, they don't want to cooperate. So the way I do it, make sure I just put this in the vise right here, very lightly, just to hold it. And I take a little bit of drill bit, I come over here and I drill me 2 pilot holes. You don't have to be very deep. Make sure you blow it out. This is the hard part for me, right here. These screws, evidently these are stainless steel screws because this is a magnetic tip. I thought it would help me, but it didn't. So, you come in here and you try to find the hole. And it's not easy sometimes. Now I can set this into here like that. And I can hold it in place without my big old fingers being in the way. There you go. And that one going. Can pretty much let it go now. And I got one more. It's not quite as hard as the first one. All right, here we are. Got 9 of them done. I think that's it. That's four sets and a spare. Had a little extra piece of wood, so I went ahead and made that one. I made these two. These two are out of cherry, and I stained them with jackal bean a little bit. So these two right here are dogwood, and the rest of them are black walnut. So anyway, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe and give me a like, and I'll catch you on the rebound.